Okay, so there's this brand new action movie that just dropped, and it has a gimmick so wild it could either be a work of pure genius or, a complete and total disaster. Let's get into it. First up, you've got a huge star leading the way, Alan Ritchson. You know him, you probably love him. He is an absolute beast in the show Reacher. But here's the twist. The part that makes this whole thing so crazy. The movie, called Motor City, is an action revenge flick with almost zero dialogue. Yep, the entire story is supposed to be told through action, not words. So, is this a brilliant new take on the action movie or just a total train wreck waiting to happen? Well, smash that like button and let's find out. So, how in the world do you pull off a whole revenge story with no talking? Just pure chaos. Well, the filmmakers, they had a pretty specific, big idea in mind. The whole theory was to just rely on visuals. We're talking over-the-top performances, tons of style, and a pretty cool score from Jack White. Basically, it's all about muscle over mouthiness, which I gotta say, on paper, that sounds kind of awesome, right? But, a cool concept can't survive without a good story. So what's the actual plot we're working with here? Let's just say it might sound a little bit familiar. So you have a good guy, he falls in love, gets framed by a jealous bad guy, does a ton of prison time, and then, you guessed it, he escapes to get his revenge. Yeah, it's a classic, maybe a little too classic. In fact, the critic basically calls it the Count of Monte Cristo, just with some truly, and I mean truly, awful wigs. We're talking a shaggy sweet haircut before prison and then, poof, an angry long-haired hero wig after. It's a look. All right, so this is where that whole silent movie concept really starts to fall apart. According to the review, the no dialogue gimmick didn't just fall flat, oh no, it created a whole bunch of other problems. Problem number one, without any words, the movie had to resort to the most basic stereotypes ever. The good cop, he's clean-cut, wears a gray suit. The bad cop, of course he gets a long black leather coat and a goatee. The critic called it Crime Fiction 101. Yeah. Subtlety was clearly not on the guest list for this movie. It actually gets worse. The critics said the acting felt so robotic that the movie, and I'm quoting here, resembles a long-form AI demo reel in which actors don't act so much as perform cliched shtick. Oof, that's gotta hurt. And you might be wondering, how did they fill all that silent screen time? Get ready for this. The review estimates that a massive 2/3 of the entire movie is in slow motion. 2/3. And apparently all this slow-mo went through some pretty predictable stages. At first, it was kind of stylish. Then it got a little silly. And finally, the whole thing just became a self-parody, where it looks like everyone is moving through molasses. So let's just recap the biggest complaints here. We've got endless slow-mo, characters as deep as cardboard cutouts, oh my god, the wigs, a plot straight out of 1975, and super uninspired action. Not a great look. But hold on, it wasn't all bad. The critic did find one little silver lining, and it came right at the very end of the movie. So apparently, the finale actually delivered the goods. There were two scenes that were just awesome. A super messy, brutal, visceral fight inside an elevator, and this wild action sequence that takes place inside a driverless car. Genuinely thrilling stuff, apparently. So after a couple of great moments buried under a mountain of slow-mo and bad hair, what's the final verdict on this whole silent revenge experiment? Well, here is the most delicious, perfect irony of it all. The critic points out that the one thing that could have saved this super basic, cliché story was clever dialogue, the very thing the movie proudly got rid of. And that leads us to the final word on the movie. A truly brutal takedown from the review. Despite its ceaseless posturing, it has all the personality of a brick wall. Wow, just brutal. Which really leaves us with one big question. Is a truly great, modern, silent action movie even possible to make? Or does all that awesome action always need at least a little bit of conversation? Let us know what you think down in the comments, and hey, don't forget to subscribe for our next deep dive.